Hi everyone, I am Ernan Aliman and welcome to this course, the Basic Computer Concepts and Literacy. This course is fit for all programs na nagsa-start pa lang sa basic computer concepts. So, in this course, you will learn or able to learn how the basic what are the basic computer parts, how computer functions, hardware and software, the data and information about the viruses. So those are for the concepts of the computer. When it comes to the basic skills or literacy, you were able or you may learn how to use these multimedia applications, the different media tools like the Microsoft Office, how to use the Microsoft Office applications, the different photo editors like Photoshop, and then different video editors. So those are for the literacy. So let's start. Now let's proceed to the introduction of computers. So basic computer concepts and literacy. So what is computer? A computer is an electronic device operating under the control of instructions stored in its own memory that can accept input. So process the data according to the specific rules, produce information output, and then store information for future use. So matatawag natin computer if we have these all functionalities like this. These are the functionalities of the computer. Number one, takes data as input. Number two, stores data instruction in its memory and use them when required. And then number three, process the data and converts it into useful information. Number four, generates the output. Number five, controls above information, all the above information to function. So as you can see, from number one, takes the data as input. Number two, stores. Number three, processes. Number four, generates the output. For example, you are making o gumagawa kayo ng a project or assignment using the text editor, the Microsoft Word. It takes the data. Kung ano yung tinatype niyo sa keyboard, it takes the data. Then if you hit the Control S or you save that, it now stores the data to the secondary drive kung saan mo na-store sa secondary drive ba, sa hard disk ba, or sa flash drive mo. So, number 3, processes data and converts it into useful information. It means if you are going to print that data, si computer na ang nagpa-process para at least readable form that human can read that data, kino-convert niya lahat kasi if you kung sa computer science, the way that the data are inputted in the system or in the computer, it is from the high level language. Meron kasi mga level yan when it comes to computer science, mga programmers. So in the background, tayo as mga user, hindi natin alam kung ano ang process na ginagawa ni computer. It's suddenly na kung ano yung makikita natin sa screen, pag na-print natin, yun din ang lumalabas sa printer. But behind the back, so sa behind process, hindi natin alam o wala tayong knowledge kung paano siya nagpo-perform. So later on, next slides, we will discuss about that. So remember, number 5, controls all of the above functions. So kung merong absent sa kanila o kulang, so hindi natin matatawag as computer yan. As you can see naman sa ating mga illustration, from data, input papunta sa computer, si computer ang nagpa-process, and then output is the information. So next, so computer components, these are the computer components. Any kind of computer consists of hardware and software are what we call the computer components. So as you can see sa ating illustration, the keyboard, mouse, other input, and other input are those components or hardwares na for input yung process niya, papunta kay CPU, si CPU ang nagpa-process, si CPU ang CPU kasi is the brain of the computer, siya ang nagpa-process lahat ng mga information. And then as you can see, merong RAM, HDD. So yun yung mga dapat i-consider natin on how the computer works. The CPU, RAM, HDD, etc. So after that, if this data is na perform na, the instructions are performed, it will now go to the output devices, so monitor, sa printer, speaker, and other output devices. So, next slides we'll discuss about briefly kung ano ba yung mga output and input devices, kung ano ang functions nila. Next is number 1, hardware. When we say hardware, it is a computer hardware that is collection of physical elements. Computer hardware is, when we say computer hardware, physical elements, physical parts of the computer, physically touch, tangible. So, when we say tangible, nahahawakan. So, lahat ng nahahawakan natin sa computer components, those are the computer hardwares. So, from the word hard, matigas, yun yung mga computer hardware. Sample for that is keyboard, mouse, storage devices, and hard disk drives. So, so before we proceed, these are the basic computer parts na makikita natin sa labas. Diba? Number 1, kaya ba nating i-name kung ano yung number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 6, number 4, number 7? So, kung kaya nating i-name sila, very good. So, these are the number 1, monitor, modem. So, as you can see sa monitor, yun yung mga pangalan nila, yung mga computer hardware, basic computer hardwares na makikita natin sa labas ng computer. So, iba din yung mga computer hardware components, mga peripherals na under or inside sa system unit. Next, so input devices. So, what are these input devices? A hardware that called input devices. So, when we say input devices, from the animation, the data enters into the computer. So, input devices are any peripheral piece of computer hardware components or equipments that provide data and control signals. So, to an information processing system, translates data from form that human understands. So, as you can see, the data are entering into the computer to make the process. So, for example, you are using your keyboard or mouse, entering the data. So, after that, behind the back, si computer, or specifically si processor, pinaprocess niya yun lahat into readable human form. Okay? So, tandaan lang natin, pag papasok, input devices. Those are input devices. So, what are these input devices? So, these are the keyboard, numeric keypad, pointing devices, remote control, etc. So, kung ano yung makikita nyo sa screen, yun yung mga example ng mga input devices. The keyboard, touchscreen, mouse, touchpads, graphics tablets, even the touchscreen, these are interactive hardware na you can make an input and then automatically nagdi-display na yung output. So, electronic whiteboard, camera, microphones, pen, trackballs, joystick, webcam, microphone. So, those are the input devices. So, ano nga yung mga input devices? Yung papasok ang data. So, vice versa, yung output devices. So, we will discuss that later. So, note that the most common used keyboard is QWERTY keyboard. Generally, standard keyboard has 104 keys. So, when we say we have, as I remember, we have two different types of QWERTY. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I remember, Dvorak and QWERTY, excuse me. From left to right, the first button is Q, followed by W, E, R, T, Y. That's what we call a QWERTY keyboard. So, I think, as I remember, when it comes to the simplicity or the madaling gamitin, mas madaling gamitin si QWERTY keyboard. So, siguro understandable naman bakit hindi naka ABCD, hindi naka alphabetical yung mga keys sa keyboard. It's because the ergonomics, when we say the ergonomics, kung paano siya gamitin, kasi many persons or these keyboards arrangement are hindi naman ito basta-basta na made o hindi ito basta-basta na transform into ganitong position if not tested, kung Hindi ba magkakumpul-kumpul yung mga kamay natin when we type, di ba? As you can see, napakaganda ng QWERTY keyboard. So next, in input devices, that's now in the central processing unit or the CPU or processor or microprocessor. So iba-iba, marami siyang pangalan. So when we say CPU, simply stands for the brain of the computer. It is responsible for all functions and processes. Regarding the computing power, the CPU is the most important element of the computer. So when we say CPU, it has comprised ito ng three main parts. So sa ibang libro, merong ibang parts sa ditong libro or sa dito na libro sa PDF, sa ebook natin, there are only three main parts. By the way, this book or ebook is from Jordan University of Science and Technology. So dinownload ko yung PDF file, ginawan ko ng PPT. So that's, in this kind of ebook, it has three main parts sa CPU. Sa ibang book, marami. So iba-iba. But the common parts are these: the arithmetic logic unit, the control unit, and then the registers. So what are these parts ng CPU? Ano yung ibig sabihin nila? So when you say arithmetic logic unit, executes all the arithmetic and logical operations. And when you say arithmetic calculations like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. And then when you say logical operations, it's like the compare of numbers, compare of letters or special characters. So those are that is the meaning or the job of the arithmetic logic unit. So when we say control unit, it says that controls and coordinates computer components. Number one, read the code for the next instruction to be executed. And then number two, increment the program counter so it points to the next instruction. Number three, read whatever the data instruction requires from the cell to memory. So when we say control unit, when from the word itself, controls, para siyang operators or control operators sa lahat ng mga transactions ni CPU. Para siyang, when it comes to the company, para siyang COO, Chief Operating Officer. So lahat ng pumapasok kay CPU dumadaan kay control unit. Si control unit ang nagmamanage kung when to input, when to out that a certain instruction. So si registers naman stores the data that is to be executed next. So from the word very fast, or from the sentence very fast storage area, ito si register. So when we say very fast storage area, we'll discuss that in the next slide. So next, the central processing unit. So animation, this is my animation. I made this animation para at least mas maintindihan nating lahat. So as you can see sa left side, we have the instructions. What are these instructions? Add, divide, in compare. So these are the instructions. These instructions are queued. Kumbaga, nakapila na yan siya papunta kay registers. So registers now act as a temporary storage of this instruction. So why very fast? Because as you can see, kung sa calculator natin, 1 plus 1, pag hit mo ng equal, automatic lumalabas na yung result. So by that method, you give the instruction temporary stored to register. So that's why si register is called very fast storage area. O kumbaga, maliit na mga instructions temporarily na store sa kanya, and then it gives to the following component or parts of the CPU. So now the data or instructions is stored temporarily sa register natin. So as you can see, merong mga arrows. From the registers, which is the temporary storage, it will now go to the ALU or the arithmetic logic operators. Now, ALU here is the job of the ALU here is to record what is the logical or the arithmetic to be performed. So record pa lang siya. Now, si control unit, siya ang nagko-control kay ALU. So, how is it? So, control unit tells the ALU to what? Based on our first instruction, control unit tells the ALU to add 1 plus 3. So, even though si ALU ang nagpe-perform ng arithmetic, but it waits for the instruction to be given by the control unit. So, siya ang nagko-control, siya ang nag-give ng instruction kay ALU na this one is to add, this one is to divide, this one is to compare if it is a logical comparison. So, after that, pag na-control na ni ALU, it gives na-control na ni control unit si ALU, it gives now ni ALU ang result, it will now go to IO unit. So, sa ibang books, mayroong IO unit. So, when we say IO, input or output unit. So, diyan dumadaan lahat ng transaction papunta palabas kay processor or CPU. So, now, the result is out. If you are making or requesting for another instructions, yun ang loop niya. From instructions, give the instructions to registers. Temporarily, naka-queue yan siya lahat, nakapila. Under sa registers, it will pass now to ALU. ALU will wait for the instruction from the control unit on how to perform this instruction, what to perform, what to do. So, after that, the result is now executed, dadaan sa IO unit. So, yun yung my own explanation regarding these three main parts of the computer CPU, the registers, ALU, and control unit. Now, let's proceed. The primary memories. These are the primary memory. We have RAM and ROM. When we say RAM, random access memory yung meaning niya. This memory is a scheme within a computer system responsible for storing data but on a temporary basis. Temporary lang siya. So, it can be promptly accessed by the processor as when needed. Volatile in nature. So, when we say volatile in nature, when the computer is powered off, the data stored in the temporary memory or the RAM, when the computer is turned off, the data are gone or lost, nawawala. So, kasi temporary lang yung pag-hold niya sa data. Unlike sa mga flash disk, secondary storage, flash drive, hard drive na for long term. So, when we say temporary, for example, I'll give you an scenario. So, you are making a computer or you are making an assignment through the text editor, spreadsheet ba, or kahit anong application, multimedia application. You are making a work using that multimedia application. So, by using that work, yung ginagawa mo ang work mo, hindi mo pa na-press ang control S or hindi mo pa na-save, it is now under the control or stores under the RAM. So, andun pa yun sa RAM. Wala pa siya na transfer sa hard disk, kumbaga. So, yun, ginagawa mo. Kumbaga, nawiwili ka na hindi mo pa na-save, nakalimutan mo, and then suddenly, the power turns off o nag-brownout out ba, nawala yung kuryente. So, yun yung mga instances na pag restart ng computer, inspected, mawawala talaga yung work mo. Back to zero ka talaga kung hindi mo na control S or na save. So, it must be from time to time you save that one para from temporary storage mapupunta siya sa long-term storage, which is the hard disk, kumbaga. So, yun ang RAM. So, ano bang kaibahan ni RAM kay ROM? When you say ROM or read-only memory, it is a permanent form of storage. So, permanent din siya. But it only stores basic instructions. So, ROM stays active regardless whenever powered supply is turned off or on. So, unlike kay RAM, na volatile na pag wala yung power, wala yung data. Si ROM, kahit merong power or walang power, andun pa rin yung instruction or yung instruction sa kanya nakastore pa rin. So, that ROM devices do not allow the data to store them to be modified. So, what do you mean by that? So, ang ROM is programmed by the manufacturers ng computers or motherboard natin. May program na yan siya nakastore dyan sa ating ROM. For example, those programs are the basic settings for our BIOS. When we say BIOS or basic input-output system, those instructions na nakaset sa ating BIOS, doon yun na-store sa ating ROM. Kumbaga, sa BIOS, we can set sa BIOS kung ano yung unang maboot, ano yung unang i-first read ni computer when it starts. Pwedeng doon natin i-set ang time, ang mga basic adjustment sa ating hardware devices o mga hardware components. Andun din yung mga settings nila na hindi mo ma-apply doon sa OS mismo. Doon mo lang ma-adjust sa BIOS. So, yun ang ROM. So, it cannot be modified kasi pag ma-modify yan, hindi mo na alam paano ibalik. So, probably your computer must not function normally. Okay? Next, the secondary memory. So, yung sinasabi ko kanina. The secondary memory, under these secondary memories are the hard drive, optical disk, and the flash disk or flash drives. So, these are the secondary memory. When we say secondary memory, this memory stores data and programs permanently. So, unlike kay RAM na temporary. So, volatile in nature yun. Ito si secondary storage is non-volatile in nature. It means, kagaya kay ROM, when there is power or no power, the data stays permanently. Andun lang yung data. So, kaya nga, ang scenario kapag hindi mo na control S, from RAM to hard disk, mawawala talaga yung files mo. Hindi mo na ma-recover. Unlike ngayon, merong mga features yung mga advanced na mga newer versions na ng mga media tools na pwedeng meron siyang autosave na mga features, kumbaga no worries na. So, pero hindi pa rin tayo dapat dependent doon kasi it only saves kung ano lang yung mga na-save niya, auto-save niya. But when it comes to the presently, yung pinakauna mong na-modify before nag-power off, I think hindi yun masasave, hindi yun masasali sa auto-save feature ng media tool. Next. So, before that, hard disk is the hard disk drive. Ito yung pinaka drive ng computer natin, secondary storage, where our computer programs and the data are stored. So, hard disk is a part of a unit often called disk drive, hard drive or hard disk drive. So, meron siyang ibang pangalan that stores and provides relatively quick access to large amounts of data on an electromagnetically charged surface or set of surfaces. So, electromagnetic yung sa loob ng hard disk drive. And then, unlike optical drive, I think obsolete na ito ngayon. Hindi na siya ginagamit masyado kasi meron na mga external or portable optical drive. So, ano ba itong optical drive? Si optical drive o ODD is a disk drive that uses laser lights as part of the process of reading and writing data to form the optical disc. So, some drives can only read from disk, but recent drives are commonly both readers and recorders. So, also called burners and writers. So, when you say burners and writers, saan mo yung time na uso pa yung CDs, mga compact disc, dito natin biniburn sa optical disc drive. So, merong mga kinds ng optical disc drive. Ang commonly na optical disc drive is for reading only, not for writing. So, mas maganda yung mga optical drives na RW. Kumbaga, pwede siya mag-read, pwede siya mag-write. And then you use the RW CDs, rewritable CDs. So, flash disk, commonly, these are the flash drives. Yung commonly ginagamit natin, flash drives. Now, hindi nasali sa slide. I will insert na lang kung ano yung kaibahan, yung mga newer version ng mga disk, the SSD and the M.2. Kung meron kayong background yan. The M.2, the SSD, and the hard disk. Yun yung mga newer version ng storage data. M.2 and SSD. So, when it comes to performance, mas maganda gamitin si M.2, si SSD. So, when you say SSD, dalawa kasi yan. Dalawang type ang SSD natin, M.2 ba or SATA SSD. So, it depends to you kung ano yung aabot ng pera ninyo. Kasi, when it comes to expensive talaga sila. Kasi, when it comes to performance, mas madali or mas magdali mag-perform, mas dali ang data retrieving sa ating mga SSD type of storage data. Because unlike a hard disk na nagre-rely siya sa mga platter niya, the spinning wheel, meron kasi siyang disk sa loob. So diyan nagre-rely yung ating pag-process sa spinning disk ng hard drive, unlike kay SSD na it is located into cells na. So madali na lang, signals na lang yung pinapa-travel ni computer, ni processors to locate or to get or to retrieve that specific data. Kasi dito sa hard disk, kung may times na mag-knocking yung disk sa loob, so delikado na yan. Next, I have a trivia about this disk and disk. Siguro may nagkalituhan siguro kung ano yung kaibahan ng disk sa spelling. So, from the puzzle.com, when we say disk na C ang huli, this disk R refers to optical media, can be removed. So, if these are removable, then the spelling of this disk is DISC. If this disk is not removable or magnetic media cannot be removed, so the spelling of this disk is DISK. So, just a trivia. So, in computer science, at least alam na natin kung ano yung kaibahan ng disk at saka disk when it comes sa spelling. So much for that. Let's proceed. What is the difference between the RAM and HDD? I think na-explain ko na kanina. Let's, I have more explanation na lang from the ebook. When we say RAM, it is a memory. When we say hard disk, it is a storage. RAM, smaller. Hard disk, larger when it comes to capacity. RAM, temporary. Hard disk, permanent when it comes to storage. When it comes to storing data. Next, so as you can see naman, makita na naman natin sa presentation. So, ganun. RAM consists of chips, microprocessors, and then this contains of platters. So, yun yung explanation kanina kasi si hard drive, si SSD, meron na siyang chips na yung naka-embed sa kanya. Kumbaga, unlike kay hard disk na platters pa. So, when it comes to data retrieving, mas madali i-process ni processor yung data na nakastore sa chips. Kasi hindi na siya magre-rely sa mga platters na nagsispin sa loob ng hard drive. So, next. When you want to use the program, a temporary copy is put into RAM and then the copy used. Yun kay RAM. Sa hard disk holds the original copy of program permanently. So next, this illustration gives us more explanation about this RAM and hard disk. So as you can see sa picture, sa front na picture, as you can see, merong tao, merong output, merong tao, and then naka-label siya. So this labels are sa table. Ito yung table. So ipagpalagay natin na ang table, ito yung memory or RAM. Ipagpalagay natin yung mga instructions sa left side ni user, sa left side ng human, sa right side pala is yun yung mga instructions na babasahin niya. Yung data is yung presently ginagamit o binabasa niya. The CPU is you, the human. The output is yung tapos na niya nabasa. So, from instructions na babasahin pa niya, yung hinahawakan niya na binabasa na niya, yung output na tapos na niyang nabasa. Sino ang nagpa-process? Si CPU o yung human na andyan sa presentation. And then all of that is under the memory or the temporary storage. Yun nga, pag that, di ba, volatile in nature ang memory natin, when it comes to powered off, wala yan lahat. Mawala yan lahat yung transactions under the memory na processes. So, as you can see sa backside, you have the shelves. Shelves now represents this secondary storage, no? So, secondary storage, dyan nakalocate yung mga libro. Kumbaga, if ako, andun ako sa library, I will get a book to read from the shelves. Now, lagay ko sa table and read that book, understand the instructions, then pag natapos ko na i-process, tapos ko na nabasa, ibalik ko na naman siya sa shelves. So, in a actual scenario sa computer, yun na explain ko na kanina, you are making a computer, you are making a text or projects sa iyong computer or laptops. So, pag hindi mo pa na Control S, hindi pa siya napunta doon sa shelves. Hindi pa siya napunta doon sa hard drive. So, pag tapos ka na, you are opening another components or another books. Babasahin mo naman papunta diyan sa memory. So, ngayon, we have all the summary that if you have a more than capacity o marami ikaw or ang capacity ng memory mo is marami o malaki, and then yung capacity or yung power ng CPU mo is malaki din, then you can open multiple application at the same time. So, meaning, walang lag, walang hang. So, dapat match sila. Kung higher yung power ng CPU mo, malaki din yung capacity ng RAM mo. In order na pwedeng mag-process ng multiple application at the same time, can open multiple application simultaneously. So, si memory kasi, pagpalagay natin memory, maraming table dyan based on an illustration. Maraming nagre-represent ng memory. So, it means you can read, you can open instruction, you can make an output at the same time, sabay-sabay. Okay? So, pag isa lang yung memory mo, o maliit lang yung capacity ng memory mo, and then malaki yung power ng CPU mo, para bang isa lang yung book na mababasa mo, but suddenly you have the capacity to read a book multiple you have a capacity to read multiple books pala. So dapat kung si CPU mo is powerful, dapat si RAM mo is a bigger capacity. So, tandaan, when it comes to process, CPU. When it comes to multiple application to open at the same time, si RAM. So, mapansin ninyo, pag maliit lang yung RAM ninyo, madaling naghang ang computer, naglalag, kumbaga, hindi nagre-respond kaagad. Sige na lang siya loading. It's because, when it comes to processes, dapat ma-process ni CPU kung ano yung request o under kay memory. So, dapat match yan siya. Match ang dalawa ha. Ang CPU tsaka memory. Next. Tapos na tayo sa input devices. We are now in the output devices. As you can see sa illustration or sa animation, from the computer to data. So, tapos na tayo mag-input ng mga data sa ating computer. So, now this time we are going to print or export that data in the any kind of media. Like i-view mo ba sa screen, i-print mo ba sa printer, patunog mo ba sa speaker. So depende kung ano yung type of expressing the output. Okay? An output device is any piece of computer hardware or equipment used to communicate the results of data. So converts the electronically generated information into human readable form. So, pagtapos ka na sa project mo, it's now time for you to print using a printer. So, yun yung mga output devices. So, what are those output devices? These are the examples of output devices: the monitor, the printer, all of types of printer, the plotters, projectors, the LCD projector panels, computer microfilm, speaker. So, ano ba itong platters? So, parang basic, no? Parang new from new para sa atin yung platters. So, platters, kung sino pang hindi nakakita ng platters are used by the advertising company, yung mga nagprint ng tarpaulin. Kung saan piniprint yung tarpaulin, ang tawag doon sa printer is platter. So, okay? So, when it comes to printers, we have three types of printers: the laser printer, the inkjet printer, and the dot matrix printer. When we say laser printers, yung mabilis mag-print pero black and white. And then, the inkjet printer is yung mga nagre-refill ka ng ink, colorful ang labas niya. The dot matrix printer is yung mga printers na maingay. Kalimitan, always, or I think commonly ginagamit ito ng mga registrar's office, the cashier office, kasi kung makikita mo yung piniprintan ng resibo, yung maingay, yun yung mga dot matrix printer. So when we say the monitors, we have three types of monitors: the cathode ray tube or CRT, the LCD or liquid crystal display, and then the light emitting diode or the LED. So when we say CRT, ito yung mga old version ng monitor, yung malaki pa, bulky pa sa likod, mainit kung hawakan, malakas yung radiation, malakas kumain ng kuryente. Yun yung CRT monitor. And then, I think wala na ito, obsolete na ito. Year 90s, ito pa yung mga ginagamit. But, after that, pinalitan siya ng LCD type monitors, the liquid crystal display monitors, yung evolution ng flat screen. Dito nag-start sa LCD. Now, after ka LCD, mas ano pa siya? I think malakas pa siya kumain ng kuryente, unlike kay LED na mas latest ngayon. But LED are expensive, but when it comes to electric efficiency, mas tipid si LED, 'di ba? When it comes to power, mga lights natin halos LED na nga, 'di ba? Mga lights ng vehicles, LED na nga halos. Lights sa street, 'di ba? LED na nga halos. It's because LEDs are a electric efficient type of diode. So, madali man lang i-distinguish ang difference between the LCD at LED. When we say LCD, kung makita nyo, bulky siya, bulky. Although flat screen siya, bulky pa rin. And then glossy yung screen niya. Unlike a LED na slim, and then yung screen niya parang matte or hindi siya glossy. Next, software. We are now in software. Tapos na tayo doon sa hardware. I think kung gusto nyo i-replay, pwede nyo ma-replay para mas maintindihan. So, let's end this slide. I will make a separate video of this software na lang po. See you for the next video.